Good morning, September 22nd, first day of fall. It's about 5 degrees, so a bit chilly, but once I walk, I'll warm up. I'm going to go down to south part of Wascana Centre, which is down where the McKenzie Art Gallery and the Wascana Rehab Centre are. And we'll walk along the east side of Albert Street, along by the legislative building and along there, so that's what we're doing. Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. Yesterday was exciting work-wise. I have the Kickstarter book cover is the cover for the Kickstarter version of Shapers of Worlds Volume 2 anthology. I worked on that yesterday morning. I think it's pretty much ready to go. Looks pretty good, I think. Might tweak one or two more things. So, and then I'll be sending that to the printer. Along with the mailing list for everybody that gets a copy, or in some cases 2 copies. And hopefully I still have enough Kickstarter funds in the Shadowpaw Press account so that I break even. It's going to be close, but I should be pretty close to breaking even. And then I don't make any money myself until the book starts selling. That's the way this works. So, I raised $16,000 plus, and it's all going into expenses, basically, is what that means. I'll have quite a wonderful anthology, and then people will buy it, and I will start to make money then, or Shadowpaw Press will, anyway. Depends on how most of what Shadowpaw Press gets, I just keep in Shadowpaw Press, and it pays for future projects, and somehow I never actually make any money for myself, but at least I produce books. There's my first dog of the morning. So we'll go under the bridge and then walk down the east side of it. Here's my plan. Just going to stop and clean the hadn't done that for a while, and sometimes I thought I saw a little bit of fuzziness that might be attributed to there being a fingerprint or something on there. Hopefully that helped. We'll see how the trees are doing down there here on the first day of autumn. You can certainly see that the sun is getting lower, because this is about the time I usually walk. It might be a few minutes earlier. And that's going to become more and more pronounced as we continue. There will be a break in this. Morning, Roger. There will be a break. I have some other things that will keep me fully occupied for a week or so. But don't worry, I will return. Here's Harrington Mews, where Wally Knight from my book series, The Shards of Excalibur, lives. Young adult fantasy series. He lives down there in a very real place, but a fictional house. Morning, Peter. Ooh, can't see a thing at the moment. I saw your name and then it got too bright to see anything. What did it say? Oh, greetings and watching. Oh, that's good. I'm going to adjust that microphone a little bit so it doesn't bang against the zipper of my sweater. So we come this way, royal we. I come this way when I walk around the lake. Today I'm just going to go along the west side here and then continue on down south instead of going around the lake, because that's what I do on Fridays. But there is the lake, of course, and the legislative building, and the sun. Ooh, that's bright. It's amazing what a fusion reactor in the sky, how much light it puts out. Oh, it's showing all the gunk on my screen now at that angle. Just sort of keep an eye on the time. I do have our cleaning person is coming to the house at 9:30, so I have to be back for that. There's the bridge, nicely lit up in the morning sunshine. Morning. No pelicans on the rocks over there. Must be past their time. Now, I'm going to go along this little path. I smell pot on the breeze from somewhere. Perfectly legal in Saskatchewan. Despite the negative science articles I keep reading about its use, people smoke too. There's way more negative stuff about that in the literature. It doesn't stop people. And to be fair, drinking alcohol may have one or two negative things associated with it. Oh, big gopher holes along here. You could break your leg in it. Now we're right here on Albert Street. But we're actually going to go away from Albert Street. When I come back, I'll walk over on the other side, but not on Albert. One block over, I think. The trees aren't... There's some yellow. Still quite a bit of green though. As I mentioned, we're past our usual first frost date by quite a bit now. A few days. And no frost yet, although we've come very close. And it's not in the forecast for the next 2 weeks either, so this could be a very late first frost this year. Could be. It already is. Will be. So the white structure to the right is the War Memorial, Provincial War Memorial. And of course, the legislative building will pop into view once we get past these bushes to my left. Here it comes. There it is. with the sun behind it, it's mostly a silhouette. We're going to walk down this side today. 2 days' time, we'll be around the lake again. The sun will go behind the dome and we'll get an eclipse. And there, you can actually see the light shining through the windows up there in the dome. There's the War Memorial over there. There's a fountain up here, but it may not be running. Most of them don't seem to be anymore. Well, it looks like they've even taken out the flowers here. So despite there not being a frost, the flowers are gone. That's the Saskatchewan Legislative Building, the provincial government building, where the legislature meets and the Premier hangs out, and MPs, or MLAs I should say. Built in early part of the 20th century. It was under construction when the tornado hit in 1912, but escaped damage. Oh, the fountain is going. I like fountains. It's the Capitol building, basically. In US terms, it'd be a Capitol building. And there it is through the trees. Yes, it is sometimes called the Marble Palace. The outside is Tyndall stone. Lots and lots of marble inside. And my novel, Magebane, which is set in a kind of a fantasyland version of Saskatchewan, the Marble Palace is where the king lives on the south side of this lake. So it's basically, I just used this as the template for where the ruling people live. The other thing about Magebane is that the whole kingdom is surrounded by a magical barrier where these mage lords fled centuries ago because of something called the Magebane that popped up on the other side of the world and was taking them down. So they set up this magical barrier to keep that from ever happening again. And then there's another barrier, a dome, that covers the Marble Palace, the King's Palace, in the surrounding area. I sometimes say, and it's always spring in there, it's never winter. Or it's always summer, it's never winter. And I sometimes said, because based on how big I say the thing is, our house would be under it. So it might be a bit of wishful thinking on my part. So there's lots of government buildings along here. This is the Walter Scott Building, named after the first premier. Not nearly as interesting as the Legislative Building, but it does have that nice stonework up on top there with the provincial crest on it. So you're much quieter walking along here than if you walk directly along Albert over there, which is quite busy this time of the morning with going to work traffic. Of course, this glass enclosure is not original. They put in a lift for accessibility reasons. None of these old buildings are accessible by modern standards, or even by their standards. They just didn't figure there were enough people in wheelchairs to bother with catering to them, I guess. Quite chilly in the shade. Back into the sun, a little warmer. parking lot for the Walter Scott building. Not too exciting. Then there's another provincial government building coming up, and then another one coming up after that. We are a government town. Oh. My fingers are getting cold, so I'm going to have to start wearing gloves one of these days when I do this, if I keep doing it first thing in the morning. And eventually, no matter when I do it during the day, I'll need gloves because it's going to get cold. I've been in this one. I've been in the other one too, but I did some work for the Department of the Environment, who were in this building. So I was there a few times. Basically a big scientific report, and I just did the cleanup work on it. Proofreading, that sort of thing. You'd think I could remember what it was about. Not so much. Something to do with the boreal forest, I think. I did one once for a federal agency that was all about potato farming in Prince Edward Island. So here we are. This is Lloyd Place, named after another former premier. It was redone a few years ago. There's the official sign with the... That's actually an old logo for the province on it, a little wheat sheaf. I think that's been updated. I could be wrong. Then coming up, we have the T.C. Douglas building, and many things are in there. I think the Department of Health is in there, but mainly I know it for the McKenzie Art Gallery, which takes up this wing. The west wing main floor is the McKenzie Art Gallery. Well, I guess it goes up to the second floor as well. Actually, the galleries are on the second floor. But the entrance to the gift shop and the auditorium, which I performed in and directed shows in, is on the second floor. Okay, we're going to go. Let me think. Yeah, we'll go this way and then come back. Keeping an eye on the time, but I'm only 16 minutes in, so I'm good. It's a pretty building. Fits into the prairie landscape very nicely. As you can see, although they're kind of just scraggly tendrils at this point, it has plants that grow in those terraces. So the McKenzie Art Gallery is down at this end, inside. And this is just a big swash of grass where events have been held many times. The symphony used to do an outdoor concert here, and maybe they will again someday. They've done that several places. And some actual art there, so yeah, it's a pretty building too, I think. Some nice color in some of the trees along there. And as you can see, it goes on for quite a ways. This is the back entrance. Looking back at Lloyd Place there. big solarium, I guess you'd say. Yeah, I'm going to go down this way so I can go behind the Wascana Rehab. When I come back, I'll go down the other side over here. Of course, the legislative building pops up everywhere. It's quite tall. I guess it's been a while since I've walked down here. I always feel like I'm repeating myself, but of course, only if you're watching every one of these do you notice that I repeat myself, and most people aren't doing that. Only if you're watching every one of them all the way through, even. And even when I repeat a walk, I don't repeat it exactly, so I should quit worrying about that and just walk wherever I feel like it on a given day. There's a good view of Lloyd Place. Now this path simply takes us to a parking lot. But if we carry through the parking lot, we'll pick up another path. I guess this is still part of Wascana Rehab. I guess it all connects. Stick to the sidewalk. The building is more interesting than the parking lot, although there is a colorful tree over there. Besides, you get that nice perspective effect when you walk next to a building. You can see me if you look close. Driver assessment program. Unloading zone. Flying buttresses of a sort. Not exactly holding up a Gothic cathedral, though. And I'll follow this path now. Something's being protected against something. I don't know what that is. Building continues over there. The sun continues to shine through the trees in a very morning fashion. The lake is right ahead of us. You can't quite see it through the bushes. Going over there. As I mentioned before, this used to be like a tourist information place. That's why it was built. But that didn't last long. I was here when it opened because we put up posters about the Science Centre in it. So I was here for the grand opening of that. Now it's just a shelter. But that is 30 years ago, so things change. Yeah, but it's a nice shelter. Place to sit and enjoy the view of the rehab center, I guess. How far to here? Just out of curiosity. How long? 25 minutes. The return trip is straighter somewhat. So this should run about an hour by the time it's all said and done. All walked and done. Because we'll actually be turning the corner up here to go south and then turning back east. There's a number of paths you can follow through this bit of the park over here. So I think I'll go this way, although I'll still go a little bit further east. There's a couple of long straight roads or paths and then connecting paths. That's how this is set up. So this one will take us back to the east again. But it's a bit more direct than if I kept on the path I was on. So it helps keep the journey the length I need it to be. I don't know why there's a round pad with nothing on it there. We won't go this way because I don't usually walk along this path. Got a little nonfiction to work on today, so probably go out to the Wascana Golf Club to do that this morning while the cleaning lady is cleaning. Oh no, I keep forgetting. I have a podcast I'm on this morning. I can't do that. I have to stay home when I get home. Oh, horrors. And then I'm getting a haircut. Very exciting, but I won't be live streaming that. Unlike some politicians who've been known to do that. Straight ahead, not where this little tree is, but beyond the next path is the city's tree farm. They grow trees too. And there is a plaque here. I'm going to see what this tree is all about. It's the Saskatchewan Missing Persons tree, and this is in fact Missing Persons Week, so tree dedicated to missing persons. I know one fellow I was in shows with years ago just disappeared without a trace. 20, 30 years ago now. 25 years anyway. It's a bit of artwork. Called wrap. Was to decide whether it's being constrained or is it being encircled and embraced? You decide. That's what the sign here says. There's the tree farm. Okay, now we will start heading west. And home. About the halfway mark, 30 minutes. So I got here in 30 minutes. I should be able to get back in 30 minutes. And we'll go on ahead and start going this way here. Now I'll have the sun behind me, which will make it easier to see the screen if anybody says anything, which nobody has for a while now. So maybe I'm all alone, I don't know. It's popping out nice and yellow. Tell by the rushes, there are sometimes water here. There are sometimes water here. There is sometimes water here. There are. Certainly in the spring after the snow melts, there's water in this depression. But it's been a dry summer, so none at the moment. Still rushes though. Quite a rush. Just a mud, well, not even a mud flat, just a dry flat, I guess. Dirt flat. Again, it's still dry, even from this direction. All right, now walk straight down in front of the Wascana Rehab and the McKenzie Art Gallery, the T.C. Douglas building. Cross over and then walk back through Lakeview to get back, I think. Down Angus. Big row of evergreens here. There's Wascana Rehab again. There's a bus stop handy to it, at which there's currently a bus stopped. Funny that. This is the main entrance here, coming up. Right there. As I say, usually when I cross here, I once sang in there and had this little program of songs I knew, recorded accompaniment. And one of them was Don't Get Around Much Anymore, which it later occurred to me was perhaps not the best song to sing at a rehab center full of people who are definitely not getting around much anymore. But nobody seemed to mind. I just thought of it later. The reason I'm coming through the parking lot instead of walking along the street over there is that there's a sidewalk I can pick up that'll take us right by the T.C. Douglas building again, but on this side this time. goes the bus. Wall shakers, it says. And cool as it is in the shade, I have definitely warmed up wearing my sweater here. It's very hard to dress right for exercising in cool weather. I tend toward I'll put up with the chilliness to start with, so I'm not too hot later on. It's usually my approach. Let's pick up the sidewalk on the other side of this little intersection here. It seems to exist mainly so that they can put a fire hydrant there. And there's the T.C. Douglas building again. Another former premier, of course. Father of Medicare. Some nice red in the leaves. Most of our trees go yellow, but those have a bit of red. All right, I'll have to change to the other side because the sidewalk doesn't carry on this side. So I'll do that right here. One of my previous walks, these trees ahead of me, which are cherry trees, were all covered in blossoms. Doesn't seem like that long ago, but it obviously was a whole season ago. So we'll come up to the main entrance of the T.C. Douglas building here, and I'll walk up by it as I carry on homeward. I'll cross the street, cross Albert Street at the first safe place to do so, I think. Because if I walk down here and don't repeat myself, it's just a very, very long straight piece of sidewalk. Terrace Drive. This being the terrace in question, I guess. Oh, here's the main entrance. As I said, one of the places in here is an auditorium, the Shumiacher Auditorium, and Lyric, Regina Lyric Musical Theatre has done a number of shows there. I've directed a few shows that have been done here, including 2 that I wrote. It's a nice little auditorium, but not really designed for theater. You have to bring in lights. And here's the main entrance. The seats are comfortable though, and it's small enough that everybody can hear everything, so it seats about 180 maybe, max. So McKenzie Art Gallery is back behind those windows. And I guess in the basement is where the vaults are, where the permanent collection is kept when not on display. All right, now we're heading north again. I've had a tour of the vaults a couple of times. It's very cool. I don't think I've been in the McKinsey since this all started, though. They were closed for a while, and I just haven't gone back. Although we're big art gallery people. Oh, hi, Colleen. Oof. There's the loading dock for the McKinsey. Yeah, there's still some flowers hanging in since we haven't had a frost, so it's nice. There's the Lloyd building again. Everything just looks picture postcard with the little bit of color in the leaves and the bright morning sunshine. And the geese going overhead. Now, I don't think I will cross at this intersection. It's an uncontrolled, or is it? Yeah, I think it's an uncontrolled pedestrian crossing, which makes me a little nervous. It is a pedestrian crossing, but there's no lights or anything. So we'll go up another block or so. To where there are lights. Coming up on our anniversary, my wife's and mine, and definitely that year the flowers had died, not too long before, but the frost had got them. It was very pretty because it was more or less like this, another week of yellowing, and our pictures were taken at the Wascana Country Club, so we were on the green grass of the golf course with the gold leaves scattered around. It's very pretty. In fact, Roger, whom I greeted earlier, I don't know if he's still there or not, was our wedding photographer. And did an admirable job. However, my keeping me completely busy thing that's coming up will keep me off of here on our anniversary, so I won't make another mention of it probably, but just so you know, our anniversary is coming up, 24th. We will cross Albert Street at this intersection once I get to the other side of Hill here. And then we'll go over, but we'll go one block in. I don't want to walk just along Albert, so we'll go to Angus, which is the first street in, and walk back along Angus. A street I've walked along many times, but I will do it again. It's kind of pushing it. That guy, he had plenty of time to stop at the red light. Might even go down the alley. Although I suppose the trees are prettier on the street itself, so we'll go to the street, see how the trees are doing along Angus. See, that alley is tempting, but I'll stick to the street today. And there's another dog. So there's berries in this tree. No, not much color. The elms tend to stay green very late. Quite often so late that when the big frost hits or a snowfall or something, they just drop green leaves. You find out they're actually dry and crunchy, but they're green. So they're not a big tree for color. But they do make a nice green background when you get a yellow one popping out, like the one behind that house. It's a house I've been in many times. A friend lives there. I've always liked this one just across from hers. I like this symmetrical look in the shutters. Same with this one on this side, for the same reason. I like that look. Or this one. Gotta watch my footing. There's some torn up sidewalk here. And of course, that one has a turret. Like houses with turrets. Closest thing you can get to a castle in Saskatchewan. Not that our house has a turret. And although we are planning a small extension, is to put in a downstairs bathroom, not a turret. Unfortunately. Another pop of yellow behind the house over there. Another symmetrical shutter house. Oh, it's not quite symmetrical because it's got extensions, but still, same general principle. That one's rather striking with the dark trim on it. Another shutter house. Not a shutter house, but symmetrical. I know I've been in this house. I don't know why, but I know I was once. Feels like it was a tour and there was nothing in it, so I wonder if it was on the... I don't know, it wouldn't make sense. I don't know, it was a long time ago. And of course that one over there, which I pointed out before, is quite large, but actually has multiple apartments in it now, I think. It hasn't been a single family house for a very long time. It was kind of a group home at one time too. That's McCallum. Carry on down Angus. Everything looks better now that the campaign signs have mostly come down. There's the front of it. 1921 was when it was built. Maybe it was always a... No, I don't think it was always a group home. Again, it's in my book, Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw. And if I could just, be bothered to look at that again. I could add more historical accuracy to these walks. But I don't feel like doing research before I go for a walk, so I rely on what I laughingly call my memory. I like it's a parasite of some sort that goes on the elms, but it changes color and turns red, so it's quite pretty. Traditional flag of our people. Rider Nation, that is. There's one for sale. Which one is it? That one is for sale. If you like the neighborhood. And that pretty one over there, I've pointed out many times. In fact, it was my thumbnail not too long ago when I was over here. Also a symmetrical shuttered house. This is a nice one too in this corner. So we're almost up to Regina Avenue, and then I just have to go right and cross. And we'll go across the bridge, go across the Albert Street Bridge today, because I'm keeping this down to an hour at the most. And we're at what, 52 minutes, yeah, so it's going to be a little over an hour, probably even. Making it shorter than it might have been. I either have to go up to the corner and cross at the light, or if nobody's coming, I'll jaywalk here. You heard it here first. Don't tell the cops. Oh, somebody's got their roof being done over there. All right, here's Regina Avenue. So I either sneak across if no one's coming, or I'll go down to Albert Street. I have to go that way anyway because I'm going over the bridge. Yeah, there's cars coming, so I'll go down and be a good pedestrian, a good little pedestrian. Yeah, lots of cars coming, including a bus. Don't want to step in front of a bus. Ruin your whole day. Well, there's still one campaign sign on the corner here, and he won, so he's the incumbent. He was re-elected. I've been in this house too. A long time ago for a Christmas party. I think is the only time. I don't know if the same people still live there or not. Oops. A little late. Well, it's already changed. All right. Sooner or later, you have to cross the bridge. Unless you carefully stay on only one side of the creek. The lake should be pretty on Friday's walk. And then it'll probably be 2 weeks before I'm able to do it again. So the leaves could have all fallen off in that time. We'll see when I get back at it. Park over here, alley. Sometimes I walk down there, but not today because it takes me further afield than I want to go since I need to get back. Across the bridge with the terracotta balustrade and the bison heads and the terracotta lampposts above them and the flags. Métis, First Nations, and Canadian flags at the moment. Let's take a look at the creek as we usually do. There's the nice lampposts look like that. Oh. Still looking kind of green, but reflective. Looks like the pelicans don't hang out here if there's no water coming over the spillway, and currently there isn't. So that might be why they're not there. They're probably looking for fish, and I presume some fish get swept over the spillway, and that's why they tend to be there. But they haven't been there for a while, and there's been no water going over, so no rush of water anyway. So that might be why I haven't seen them for a while there. Or they may have migrated. I don't know when or where pelicans go. Something else I could research, but probably won't. Again, the whole neighborhood is called Lakeview, but that's probably the one house that has a real lake view. Some of these over the bridge, I guess, but they've got the best one up there. They've got a chariot too. I think that's also the house that had a fire when it was rebuilt. Kind of a sunken backyard. Probably doesn't get a lot of sunshine down there, but quieter, I guess. All right, we're on the homeward stretch. Well, have been for a while, but really on the homeward stretch. And timed it pretty good, pretty much an hour. It's going to go to an hour and 2 minutes according to the little timer on the screen. And I won't quite make it home in 2 minutes, so it'll be a little over an hour. Crunchy leaves. Why, yes, I do still enjoy crunching and crunchy leaves, even if I am 62. 2 more years, I'll be the Beatles song. However, the Beatles, those that remain, are far past that. There's actually a very good series on, is it on Netflix? I don't know where we're streaming it from. Called McCartney 321, or I think that's it. And it's just a one-on-one interview with record producer Rick Rubin interviewing McCartney. Mostly about musical things, as much as anything. And you know, they have the original recordings and they can bring out parts and talk about how the sounds were created and things like that. And of course he talks about his career in general. It's very interesting. And I was trying to remember why I knew the name Rick Rubin, and I remembered it's from when I wrote the biography of Johnny Cash. I'm sure he was the producer at American Records who worked with Cash on his last few recordings. When Cash suddenly got this whole new respect from younger listeners, they heard some of his stuff. Very dark, much of it. If you've never seen the video for Hurt, ooh, very dark. Where the man comes around. It was an interesting book to write. I mean, I was drawing on other people's biographies and just synthesizing information from a lot of sources, but it was interesting to write about Cash. My parents used to listen to him all the time when I was growing up. And you know, he grew up in Arkansas and I went to university in Arkansas. And he used to come to Saskatchewan. He loved northern Saskatchewan. Didn't really make it into the book, but he would go fishing up north. And lots of people in northern Saskatchewan knew him. Almost there. Well, it was almost just 2 minutes from when I said it was 2 minutes. Except we were at 1:01, so it was like 3 minutes. Maybe 4 at the outside. So, I'll stop here. Thanks for walking with me today, and I'll be back tomorrow. Bye for now.